I want to share with you a bunch of ways that we can stop this doom scrolling because it's not good for us. And if we want to be empowered women, we want to be able to make a difference in the world and to make a positive difference in the world, the more that we can fill our lives with positivity instead of the negativity, then that vibration will go out in the world because love always wins. Light always shines out of the darkness. I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of the L.O.V.E Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. I've got a confession to make. I have fallen into a terrible trap lately of going onto Facebook first thing in the morning and getting sucked into posts about politics and arguments and endless updates about things I just can't control. Ah, if you're like me and you have entered doom scroll prison, then today's episode is for you because we are going to plot our escape together because it's got to stop. And actually, today I did better doing one of the things we're going to talk about today. But first, I do want to welcome you to Live, Love, Engage, especially if this is your first time joining us. I am Gloria Grace, and midlife empowerment guide, confidence catalyst, and self love advocate. And I empower mission driven women over 50 to, to boldly live life on their terms. And I do it through my signature love system and energy healing. So, yeah, it's interesting. This idea about social media is just, it can be really great, and it really helps bringing people together, and it's natural to want to go there to seek information and stay informed. But when it gets into a habit of where you're wasting time, or let's just say spending too much time reading negative stories, it really, studies have shown it can actually harm your mental health. Uh, it can worsen problems like depression and certainly cause anxiety, I think, or worsen it. Uh, worsening things like obsessive compulsive disorder and PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome or disorder. Sorry, you know what I meant. Anyway, so as I said, the tool is not inherently bad. It's that, unfortunately, as we all know, the algorithms love to serve up stuff that kind of gets you going. And boy, if you've read, oh, what is that name of the book? I bought the book that a woman who used to work at Facebook wrote recently. And anyway, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but if I can remember the name of the book, maybe I'll put it in the show notes. Check it out. It's very enlightening, shall we say. But anyway, I want to share with you a bunch of ways that we can stop this doom scrolling because it's not good for us. And if we want to be empowered women, we want to be able to make a difference in the world and to make a positive difference in the world, which I know if you're listening to this podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube, and if you are, hit that bell and subscribe button while you're at it. I know that you are here to make a positive difference in the world. And the more that we can fill our lives with positivity instead of the negativity, then that vibration will go out in the world. And even though right now it seems rather dicey at times, especially here in the United States, but even around the world, there's lots of sadness and chaos and violence and war. And we've all been here before. Maybe not me, but I mean, our ancestors have all lived through this stuff before. And we will get through this too. We will. Because love always wins. Light always shines out of the darkness. So I've got 15 different things that I found of different ways that can help you and help me as well. And like I said, I did actually try one of these. I'll when we get there, I'll tell you which one it was, but it was today because I was like, I started finding myself getting down that rabbit hole again. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. I'm going to be talking about this today. I don't want to, I don't want to do that. So here's number one. So, and if you don't have a pencil handy, you might want to get a pencil and, piece of paper and write these down. So maybe pause this for a second and go do that and then come back. I'll give you a minute. Well, okay. I'm sure you've paused it and you're back by now. Okay. All right. So speaking of time, so the first one is to use the 5-second rule. So when you notice that you're starting to keep going and going and going and you're scrolling and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Do I really want to do this? Just stop, take a breath, count to 5. Well, count down from 5. Let's say, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then close out of your phone or if you're on your computer, close out of that window, close that browser and go do something else. I'm sure you have something else that you could be doing, whether it's in your work or your family life, whatever it is, but do that. Number 2, this is another time related one, which is to just set a time limit, set a timer and just do that so that when the timer goes off, if you want to set a timer on your phone or you can, set a timer wherever else. My mother used to have actual real timers. Remember those actual timers that you would like turn? I used to have one of those to help me do laundry. Now it's like our phones, but the old analog days. Anyway, set a time. And then when that timer goes off, you're done. Okay. You got to stop. Don't keep going. Honor yourself. Okay. Keep your commitment to yourself. As one of the 4 agreements. I did podcast episodes about these. Oh gosh, last year maybe or the year before. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. So if you're telling yourself, okay, I'm going to honor that I'm only going to spend 15 minutes on Facebook today, or right now anyway, maybe just 15 minutes of going through the news feed. Probably less than that might be better. Maybe 5 minutes might be enough, frankly. But then when that timer goes off, then say, okay, I'm going to be impeccable with my word and I'm keeping my commitment that's it. I'm done. Okay. All right. Number 3, seek out positivity. So yeah, you get into this negative stuff. All right. You know what? Take a break and go find a funny video to watch on YouTube instead. Cat videos, baby videos. Oh, babies are so sweet. They always make you laugh. Read something good. Maybe find a spiritual passage to read. I subscribe to the Daily Word from Unity, and I always get I get them in my phone. So I have the Daily Word message, and those are really uplifting. Something to read. Have a gratitude practice. Say, okay, I'm off of this now. Let me just be grateful that I had a phone to use. I am grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I can, see or hear or whatever it is. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to notice your body. If you're gonna go through social media, be mindful about it and pay attention to how your body is feeling. Um, I know for me, when I get upset, my stomach starts to tighten up. So that might be something for you, or maybe your neck tightens or your shoulders get tight. Pay attention to your body because your body is giving you a signal, and it's a wonderful thing. And sorry, I just got emotional for a second because I was happened to my catch my expression in the camera, and it reminded me of my sister. And I never used to think that I looked like my sister, but it's like I just saw Michaela there for a minute, and she's been gone now almost 10 years, and it was just sorry. anyway, anyway, pay attention to how your body's feeling, and pay attention then, what's your mind doing? How's your mind reacting? And then, if you don't like how you're feeling, that's your signal to say, okay, I think we're done. let's take a break and go do something else now. Number 5 is to avoid catastrophizing. Isn't that a lovely big word? Which basically means, you know, instead of like jumping to, oh my God, the world's going to end. This is terrible. What's going on? Okay. Be more discerning and use your critical thinking skills and question what is a more realistic outcome of this situation rather than just immediately going to worst case scenarios. What instead, maybe even ask, okay, what could be the best outcome of this happening? you know let your imagination run wild and try to think of something more positive about it. And this one is sort of related to number 4. So number 6 is to engage in thought stopping. So, which means, I was talking before about being mindful. It means to pick up the phone consciously and with purpose. So just say, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to just review, scan a little bit just to see what my friends are up to on social media, and or just do it for business for a little bit. I'm going to be really purposeful about what I'm using social media for right now. And just approach it from that aspect, because when as opposed to just going on and la 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 la, just being mindless about it. We want to be more mindful and purposeful and say, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to comment on a bunch of posts. I'm going to, check in with my Facebook group if you have one, or if you are a member of a Facebook group, I'm going to just go in the Facebook group. I'm not going to go on the news feed, frankly. So that's another thing that you can do. Number 7 is to slow the pace of scrolling. So instead of just going blah, 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 looking. No, focus on quality of content. So if you see something that catches your eye, then actually really stop and read it, and then sort of take a moment to digest the information. And again, think about it a little bit and see, do you really agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Is it worthy of a comment? Or maybe it's worthy of just saying, you know what? I don't like this at all. I'm not going to follow it anymore. And that's okay too, which gets me into number 8, which is about curating your feed. Because that's the thing. You do have control, at least when it comes to even LinkedIn too. But we're going to pick on Facebook today and I'm not even going on to X. I'm not even I don't hardly go on that one anymore, that platform. But Facebook is billions of people are on Facebook, and that's really where you get a lot of this stuff comes up. So you can You can snooze people. You can X out. When you're going through the news feed, if you see a post that you're like, "Ugh, I don't want to follow this person." And of course, now they're like, the lovely algorithm of Facebook is they're showing you all this stuff, like giving you all these different people and pages to follow now and groups to follow. It's quite annoying, but there's some different ways around this that you can go. Number one, there's a friends feed essentially. Actually, let me see if I can. I'll go into my phone for a minute and see if I could do. I know I do this on the desktop, but I know that there is. Let's see. Yeah, so you can do so right on your phone, there's up at the very top, you'll see like two icons of like two people. And so that's your friends. It's got, it's a friend feed. So you can, just look at posts from your friends on Facebook as opposed to all of these other people. And I need to remember to do this more often, frankly. But in the regular newsfeed, of course, you can, there is like if you see something you don't like, you can click on three little dots and it gives you your choice of interested, not interested. More of your posts will be like this, less of your posts will be like this. Um, hide post, and then you can like snooze the person or unfollow them, as well. You have the prerogative, you have control about what you want to be served up. So even though Facebook will, figure it out, but you still have control. So curate your feed. That's a really important one. Okay. You know what? I'm going to recap because we're like halfway through. So I'm going to recap them real quickly. So we've got use the 5-second rule. So, breathe. When you notice, breathe, count down for 5, and then do something else. Set a timer, seek out positive stuff instead. Focus on how your body feels, question, use your critical thinking skills. Be mindful about it. Be conscious about what you're using social media for. Slow the pace of scrolling, really focus on quality, and then curate your feed, of course. And, unfollow accounts or topics that upset you. And also then seek out positive ones and follow those. That's one thing I'm going to do more of. I want to go back in and look for uplifting pages and people and things like that that I want to follow. If I'm not following them already, I want to do that so that I have more of that to look at. Because as I said at the beginning, well, and I've talked about this in other podcasts before, and I'm sure you've heard this. What you focus on grows. So if you're going to focus on negativity, that's what's going to be served up to you, and it's what you're going to see, and it's going to lower your vibration, and your day is probably going to be bleh. So instead, let's focus on positive stuff, which brings me to number 9, which is to practice affirmations. Put positive messages around you. You could even have a positive message on your phone, maybe as like your wallpaper, so that you already always see that. Now I've got a picture of a hot air balloon. That's my positive message because my son treated me to a trip to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival a few years back, and I just loved it. And so that always puts me in a good mood to see that balloon. But yeah, have those positive messages around you. Put them on your computer screen. Put them on your bathroom mirror. Put them on your bedroom dresser or wherever you're going to see them. Put them in the kitchen. We're always in the kitchen, right? Put them on your refrigerator, and surround yourself with positivity. So I have a vision board up in my office here, and it's got lovely things like with God, all things are possible. And I am open to receive, and I am worthy, So those things are great to be able to see, to feed your mind with that stuff as opposed to all the, stuff. Um, Number 10, again, some of these are a little similar, but they got slightly different flavor. So number 10 is to focus on the present moment. So again, if you find yourself scrolling and going, suddenly not feeling great about it, just stop and say, okay, what can help me feel better right now? And then maybe it is just completely turning it off, or maybe it is seeking out positivity, looking for something fun, or going for a walk. Maybe it's like, I'm going to get outside for a little bit, get me some fresh air, and just, get away from the nonsense that's out there. Number 11. This one's really good. Is to be honest about your behavior. So again, if you find that this is becoming a habit, which is like I kind of thinking even for me too, is to start asking your higher self, ask yourself, what's going on? Why am I doing this? Am I bored? Am I looking for guidance? Am I looking to confirm my fears? But be curious and maybe do some journaling about it. Ooh, that just came to me. That wasn't on my list. There's number 16. Journal about it. And ask yourself, why am I letting myself do this when it doesn't feel good? What is the payoff for doing this? Is it to confirm a bias? We're humans. We do like to do that. We like to confirm our how we see the world, not the word, how we see the world, and confirmation bias, and so are you seeking that? And that's okay, sort of, but is it really going to serve you in the long run? So yeah, that might be something to do, to really be curious and wonder, why are you indulging in this habit? Now, number 12 is you can use some digital wellness apps to ease your mind. So this is where you can do things. There's lovely apps on here, and now my mind is blanking on one. I know there's one that does a lot of like meditation, and so you might want to do that. Again, do some positive readings, and I'm sure there's like apps on the phone that serve up that. Well, like I mentioned, even like I get the Daily Word, and I think actually Unity does have an app as well. Another app that I've used, and I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, is something called the Triple Flame app. And this is an app that helps you create pauses during your day where you can just stop and contemplate and just, look out the window and just think of things. And it also has, I'm trying to go to that one too. It also has some other resources on here as well. Let's see if I go to that. It has some videos like about the art of contemplation and how to do that. It has some articles on here, and yes, and some other audio journeys. I think it has even meditations on here as well. So yeah, it's a really cool app. So I highly recommend it, and it's free. Hey, can't beat free, I mean, there's other apps out there that you have to pay for, which are also, worth it. But I like free stuff. I don't know about you. that always makes me happy to have something for free. Another thing you can do is to turn off your notifications. So if you've got if you're one of those people that you see, I have for messages, when I've got messages, but I turned off my notifications from Facebook. So because if I don't want to, that's one thing I want to do is I'm going to decide if I want to go on there. I don't want it yelling at me like, oh, you've got, 15 notifications. No. So if consider doing that. And if you're also, maybe you're, I know there's also like news apps out there. I don't pay attention to that, but if you're one who likes to get their news from an app on the phone, you might want to, if that's getting you where you're going through the news too much. I've been picking on social media, but it could also be the same thing as going through news. Then you might want to turn those notifications off as well. And just, again, be mindful about when you're going to just check in. Cause I do, like, I don't sit down and watch like the evening news or even just, spend a lot of time on any of the news sources, but I do like to at least get the headlines just so I have a sort of an idea about what's going on in the world. And then if there is something really interesting, then I'll go in depth and read an article. But I don't want to be, I lost my train of thought. Oh, well, anyway. Yeah, forget it. Whatever. Okay. All right. Number 14, have some screen-free self-care time. And if you're a regular listener, I talk about self-care, the importance of self-care a lot on this podcast. It's so important to your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being. So make sure that self-care is a non-negotiable for you. So for me, I always go for a walk in the morning and I meditate. Those are my two non-negotiables. I also endeavor to journal every day. Sometimes I will skip a day, but so I give myself a little latitude with that one. But exercise and meditation, I have to do those first thing in the morning because I'm a morning person. And if I don't do the exercise in the morning, it might not ever get done. So I make sure that I do that first. Either exercise or meditate. I sometimes, will shake it up and do one first and then the other. But I make sure I get those done. But if you're a night person, then exercise at night or meditate at night. It has to fit your schedule. You need to decide what you want to do. Also, a gratitude journal. I know I've talked about that, the importance of that. Some people like to do their gratitudes in the morning. Some people like to do them at night. I like to do it at night before I go to bed. I kind of think about the day and think about, specific things that happen maybe that were, that I'm really grateful for. And that way I go to bed with a positive frame of mind. And yeah, so yeah. So that's that one. Okay, let's see. And number 15, haha, oh my goodness. Well, or 16, is to get some support. Share your intentions to quit doom scrolling with a loved one or a significant other or a best friend or somebody who will hold you accountable. Yeah, because especially if this has become a really tough habit for you to break, letting somebody else know, having someone, maybe check in, maybe you could have them like message you, maybe at the time of day when you would typically do this and say, hey, what you doing? Are you doom scrolling right now? If not, if you are, stop. So yeah, because you don't have to do this stuff alone. You can always get support. And if you're still doing it, even with support, then you might want to start talking to a professional about it. And that's okay. Consider talking with a therapist or a mental health professional. Heck, you can even just call somebody. They have, helplines that you can find online, and you can talk to somebody anonymously if you want, rather than, making an appointment to speak with someone in person. Actually, they even have, what is it, this BetterHelp? I see everybody who's doing podcasts, or not everybody, I'm generalizing. A lot of podcasts I follow, I should say, or some of the podcasts I follow have BetterHelp, I think is what it's called, as a sponsor. and they are an online app that helps you to connect with a licensed professional. I'm assuming they're licensed, so you definitely want to do that. Uh, or even talk to a coach. I mean, even somebody like me, I could help you and do that. So it's there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm going to pop this up. If you did ever want to talk with me, maybe you have, even questions about some of this stuff. If you want to schedule, just a conversation, go to engagewithgloria.com and you can schedule a call with me. It takes you right to my calendar and you can, I believe, yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, it takes you to a calendar and you can book a time to chat with me. So, just want to put that out there. Okay, so we talked about a lot. So let me go back and recap now the second batch. So we have practice affirmations, focus on the present moment, be honest about your behavior, ask what's going on? Why am I doing this? Be curious. Use digital wellness apps. There are a ton of them out there to help you to ease your mind a bit. Turn off the push notifications. Have self-care time where you're not on the phone or the computer or something, and share your intentions with someone to quit doom scrolling and get support and accountability. Okay, please do that. And I'm going to share one other thing with you that I believe can help you, certainly right now anyway, and to be able to maybe release, because there may be some sort of block in there that is, getting you to want to do this. So I'm going to set the intention today that I'm going to share what I call light language with you. And this is a um, type of speech and a type of song that I will share, that I channel. It comes through me, that comes from higher dimensions, and it is something that your logical brain won't necessarily be able to translate, because it'll sound like a foreign language, and I can't actually translate it word for word. I will have impressions of themes about what is coming through, but it's not word for word. But it's something that is intended to speak to your heart and your soul, and to help clear up energy blocks, and to really be a way to, frankly, just to relax, to have a little stress relief in your day. So I'm going to invite you to, if you're listening to this podcast while you're driving a car, to come back, pause it, and come back to this later, when you can be somewhere where you can have your feet on the ground or feet on the floor, and you can be in a comfy chair, and just see about closing your eyes and set an intention that the message that you're going to receive will be for your soul's highest good and the highest good of all concerned. And that is the intention that I am setting right now as well. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, let it out, relax, and let's see what comes through today. O kakuya ne, anakuya koe na koe ka, anakarya tuina, sanako kaha kayo no kue. Konyakuri mo karayo shonaka. Kore otoku na kiyotoron makrete. Sanaka ye koyotu. Hasha no koyato ya. Sanakriyo na kuyate ka soana. Kyo no koishanaka ya batunga. Tarai tari otoku mashakaniana. Panokua pani kore. Asakashuna kia patoma. Shiunu aba shono kria bunga de kaso kria no kuya patunga haleo no pano kario no koga kwashono kria batna kuria patunga lieta sanka yotokuma takushia no kuya patuma liate shoa la kuana ekariato kuana kia Sonno kriapa ma shakayapa, kuya no kuyapata, konna ki kuyato, shonna kiyapata, kuya, karya shaki, monoku, monoku. Mm. Mm. Apologize for the cough midway through there. I didn't get to hit the mute button quick enough for that. Apologize. I would love to know if you find one of these ways helpful today. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Gloria Grace Rand, R-A-N-D. And, you can also go to my website. You can send a message. I've got a little contact box down at the lower right-hand corner where you could send a message to me. And I'd love to hear your progress. I know I am going to be trying a few of these things. And I know today, I know one of the things I did was I realized that I was like scrolling and I was like, stop. No, stop. You got other things to do. Stop. And that's what I did. So I guess it was, I didn't do the 5-second rule exactly, but I stopped. That's the important thing. So I encourage you to do that as well. Now, next week, I encourage you to join us because I've got an interesting conversation with a gentleman. His name is Gerard Wouters, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's a Taoist therapist from Holland, and he is going to be sharing with us how you can explore this 26-year-old Taoist philosophy and use it to transform your hectic life into one of peace and abundance. And I don't know, I think we all could use more peace, certainly, in the world, and a little more abundance. And it doesn't have to be just money either. It could be abundance of love and of friends and of joy and of happiness. That's a wonderful thing, too. So make sure that you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube if you're watching us there. And that way you'll get notified when the next episode comes out. So until then, as always, I'd like to encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.